Superior General, Society of Jesus, Paris, France. Dear Father Superior, as you well know, it has been some time since I last wrote to you concerning the progress here among the Mohawk Indians. As I write this letter to you, my heart is full of sadness from the recent death of a young Indian maiden from this village. Yet at the same time I feel deeply blessed for having known such a holy and sincere young woman as she. I can honestly say that in all the years I lived and worked back in my home country of France, I have never witnessed such an inspiring and faith-filled life as hers. In the few years that I knew her, I have learned more of the goodness and beauty of God than I ever did from my own countrymen. And so, out of deep gratefulness to the Lord for the gift of her friendship, and for all the love that He showed me through this young woman, please permit me to relate to you some special remembrances of her. This young Indian woman's name was Kateri Tekawitha. Kateri was born 24 years ago, in 1656, in a village situated along the banks of the Mohawk River. It was near this village that our own Jesuit brothers Isaac Jogues and René Gros-Pil were killed a few years before. Kateri's land is a very beautiful land filled with green forests, clear flowing rivers, and delicate wild flowers of every sort. Kateri's father was Mohawk, while her mother was from the Algonquin tribe. At birth, she was given the Indian name Yoragode, which means sunshine, and she was a very happy and healthy baby. But at the age of 4, tragedy struck her family when the terrible disease of smallpox ravaged her village, killing her mother, father, and baby brother. Kateri herself hovered near death for 2 weeks, and when the fever finally departed, she was left with a face scarred by pockmarks. The disease also left her half-blind, and the sun's brightness often caused her much pain. She bore these effects from smallpox the rest of her life. Because they felt an obligation to her deceased father and mother, Kateri's aunt and uncle took her into their home. When her uncle observed how she had to walk slowly and hesitantly because of her poor eyesight, he gave her the nickname Tekawitha, which means she walks with her hands out front. Knowing that she would never see her real family again caused Kateri much emotional pain. Her heart yearned for the warmth and tenderness of her real mother and father's love, but it was never to be. Her aunt and uncle often treated her with contempt, and at times were very cruel to her. Growing up in this kind of family environment, and also because of her physical looks, Kateri became a very shy, quiet, and withdrawn young woman. Kateri would often go into the forest to find refuge and strength for her spirit. These solitude trips into the woods and trees soon acquired for her an acute awareness and perception for nature and the creation around her. Her heart became sensitive and perceptive to all the beauty she would encounter there, a sensitivity that blossomed from her Indian ways. woman, she was also aware of other tender movements within her heart. Our Jesuit brother, who lived and worked in Kateri's village, was Father Ferman. He was the one who first told me about the holiness of this young woman. Father Ferman was a very zealous and dedicated Jesuit missionary, and he loved the Mohawk people very much. But the lack of converts in his village was very frustrating for him. The one consolation he had was the friendship of Kateri. Often, during the moments of prayer, he would recall the night he shared supper with her family.
I am very grateful to you and your family, Irwano, for opening up your home to me tonight. I pray that our God blesses you very much for your kindness.
It is our Indian way to open up our homes to visitors. As for your God, tell him to keep his blessings for himself.
I know how you feel about our Christian religion, Irwano, but I hope someday you will look into it with an open mind.
The Christian religion is a white man's religion, and I have seen how the white man lives. He has no respect for the earth as his mother. He kills off more animals than he uses. He destroys my people with whiskey and disease. If that is the way the white man lives, I have no use for his religion.
It is true that some of my people are as you say, but our Christian religion does not tell them to be that way. They act that way because they don't really understand the words of our Lord.
Anyone who is not sincere in what he believes in his heart cannot be sincere in what he speaks with his lips. I do not trust the white man because he speaks words from his lips that he does not believe in his heart.
Do you trust me, Irwano?
I do not know yet. From what I have seen, you black robes do not act like other white men.
I'll take that as a compliment. What are you staring at, my child?
Such a strange necklace you're wearing, Black Robe. Why is this man hanging from the cross?
Because he sincerely believed what was in his heart.
What was his name?
His name was Jesus, and in many ways, he was just like you.
In what ways?
Well, like your Iroquois nation, his nation had many tribes. 12, in fact. Your tribe is Mohawk. His tribe was called Judah. Perhaps, someday, I can teach you more about him. Would you like to have this cross as a gift, as a sign of appreciation for the hospitality your family has shown me?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Black Robe.
Once again, thank you for your hospitality tonight, Irwano. May God bless you all, especially you, my child.
Thanks, Olita, for helping me with all this sewing today. You're a good neighbor to have.
Oh, it was nothing. I didn't have anything to do today anyway. Where's Urano? Is he still out hunting?
Yes, he'll be gone most of the day. And Tekakwitha's out collecting firewood. I wish she was out collecting a husband.
It is unusual that she's not married yet. How old is she now? About 20 years old?
Almost. I tried convincing her to be more aggressive in finding a good man. Most of the girls her age are married, some with 2, 3 children, but she's so stubborn. Falling in love with a fine young man doesn't seem to have entered her heart.
She is a good worker. She would provide well for her husband and children. Has any young man asked her to be his wife yet?
That's the problem. No one seems to be interested in her. And could you blame them? Who would want such a shy and timid woman, one who always keeps to herself? You have to admit she's certainly not going to attract anyone because of her looks. With a face and figure like that, it's no wonder no man has ever approached her for marriage.
I feel sorry for her. She would have been a pretty young woman if the smallpox had never disfigured her.
Sometimes I wish she would have died along with her family. It would have spared her uncle and I all the hardships we've had to put up with. So you're finally back. Why does it take you all day to gather just one bundle of wood? Now get inside and cook supper. Your uncle will be hungry when he returns. And it better be ready. Hurry up. See what laziness I have to put up with? What did I do to ever deserve her?
Tekawita! I know this must be you. You're the only girl in our village that can sew like this. Thank you. This is very beautiful. Tekawita! I do have a favor to ask of you. I wish to meet you here tomorrow at the same time. I want to speak to you face to face. I will be waiting here tomorrow.
Hi, Uncle. Here's some more firewood. I'll have supper ready in a moment.
Now, what do you suppose she's so happy about?
Who can say? You sure you have everything arranged for tomorrow evening?
Everything's set. The family has been paid off with blankets and firewood.
And I have spoken with his father and mother. He's willing to take her if we provide 3 months of deer meat, plus all the firewood they'll need.
If we don't make good on this chance, it may be the last chance we ever have.
Does Tekakwitha know yet?
I plan to tell her in the morning.
Good. Then everything is ready. I think we finally found the one.
Tekakwitha, I want you to be ready for tonight, so you come back early from your work and start supper. Your uncle is having some important guests over tonight.
I'll be back.
And make sure you look presentable, or appropriate, since they are his special guests.
I'll be back in time.
Good morning, Tekawitha. Your kindness towards me these past few days has touched my heart deeply. I want to thank you for all your thoughtfulness towards me, and especially for this. This is very beautiful. Thank you.
I'm glad you liked it.
You are a very kind and sensitive young woman, and the man who marries you will be most fortunate. But there is something that you should know. Usketa! This is Usketa. In the summer she will become my wife. I thought that you should know that. Goodbye, Tekawitha.
How dare you embarrass us last night in front of your uncle's guests? You ruined the whole marriage. After everything we planned, don't you know how hard we worked for it?
We'll not fall for any plans you made behind my back.
Don't you talk back to me, you worthless little blind girl. After everything your uncle and I have done for you.
You've never done anything for me except for using me as a slave.
You listen, if it wasn't for him and me, you would have nothing. No place, you would be dead. You hear me? Dead. Get that through your stubborn head.
You only took me in because you felt sorry for my family. Not because you loved me. You never loved me.
That's right. We didn't love you. And we didn't want you. And we still don't want you. You understand? Nobody wants you.
Good morning, Black Grove.
Can I do something for you?
No, can I sit here by myself?
Certainly. Stay as long as you wish. I'll be next door if you need something.
Thank you, Black Grove.
Come in, Tekakwitha. Please sit down.
Thank you, Blackwood.
How have you been lately, my child?
Things have not been easy for my family. I've been thinking about running away.
Running away? Where would you go?
I don't know. Anywhere. Somewhere far away from them.
Your family are quite proud people, Tekakwitha, especially your uncle.
Do you believe what he says, that there is only one Great Spirit?
Yes, I do. The spirit that your people call Rawinio is the same as God our Father. He is just called by different names.
I've been looking at this cross necklace you have given me, and I've been thinking about my family situation. I'm beginning to understand more of who this Jesus is.
Would you like to come to catechism classes and learn even more about Jesus?
I think I'd like to try.
Do you think your family would let you?
Blackrobe, my aunt and uncle have raised me, so I must respect them. But I think I'm old enough to make my own decisions. When are your instructions?
Next Saturday.
I'll be there.
Thank you, Tekakwitha, for your courage. Tekakwitha, pray to Rawinio for me.
And you, pray to Father God for me.
Despite the objections of her aunt and uncle, Tekakwitha continued the classes in catechism. Eventually, after a few months of instruction, she asked to be baptized. Knowing that they could not bend her will or determination, her aunt and uncle permitted her to enter the Catholic faith. Thus, on Easter Sunday, April 5th, 1676, Tekakwitha was baptized and took the Christian name Catherine, or as it is pronounced in her language, Kateri. From that day on, she began to use her full name, Kateri Tekakwitha. Kateri joined the small number of Christian Indians in her village and soon acquired friendship with these people. But as she also discovered being a Christian did not spare her further ridicule from her family.
So the Holy Christian is finished with her Mass?
Yes?
Well, you're late. You hurry off into the cornfield. Your uncle's been waiting for your help.
But today's Sunday. You know I'm not allowed to work in the fields today.
So this is a handy excuse for you lazy Christians. You refuse to work? Neither shall you eat. You want to say something to me, Tekakwitha?
I've asked you to call me Kateri.
As long as you are in our home, we will call you by your real name. Just because you've taken a new name does not make you any better. You are still trash. You always will be. Do you hear me, Tekakwitha? But I know a way of getting at you, this Christian woman.
Hey, Tekakwitha, are you coming from church, huh?
Hey, don't you got any manners? Tituwika isn't her name. She got a new fancy Christian name. Ain't that right, Kateri?
Hey, Kateri, why don't we go behind those trees and have a little fun? Are you afraid your God is watching you?
Even if she does, she can go to that black rope later for confession.
Let's go, leave me alone.
After you confess, come back for the second round. Or don't you think we're good enough for you? Maybe all you want is that Jesus man.
Kateri, what's wrong? Where have you been?
Blackrobe, I've got to leave the village. I cannot stand it here any longer.
Kateri, I know your family has been giving you trouble, but...
I want to leave this village now. I cannot take it any longer.
Where would you go?
Anywhere, any place. As long as I stay here, I cannot live in peace. Don't you understand?
All right, I know where we can send you. There's a village on the St. Lawrence River, up in Canada, where the Mohawk Christians are in the majority. You'll be safe there.
When can I leave?
As soon as you wish. First, we need to find 2 men to go with you who are trustworthy. There are 2 Christian men in our village here whom I know we can trust.
I'm ready to leave anytime, Black Robe.
Then make ready to go tomorrow evening. You must travel as light as possible. The men will carry extra food. You just carry 1 blanket. Under the cover of darkness tomorrow night, you must be ready to go after your family is asleep, and then you can make your escape.
I'll be ready.
Your aunt and uncle will miss you very much. I, too, will miss you very much. With God's protection, this will work. One more thing. When you get to the village, give this letter to the Black Robe there, Father Chartier. This will explain your situation to him. May God bless you, Kateri, and may Mother Mary pray for you.
I'll never forget our friendship, Black Robe.
And please, Kateri, when you pray, please remember me.
Someone else worry about her now.
After a journey of 4 days and nights along the river, Kateri and her 2 Mohawk guides arrived safely in our village of Kanawaka. It was August of 1677. I can still remember the first time I met her and the letter she gave me from my Jesuit colleague.
Dear Father Chartier, greetings in our Lord Jesus. Kateri Tekakwitha now comes to join your community. Giving her your spiritual guidance and direction, you will soon realize what a precious jewel we have sent you. Her soul is very close to the Lord. May she grow from day to day in virtue and holiness of life, to the honor and glory of God.
Kanawaka is truly a unique Mohawk village. The inhabitants are almost all Christian, and they are so fervent in their love and care for each other that it is known as the Village of Prayer. One reason why they are such model Christians is that we have a specific rule strictly enforced. No Frenchmen or other outsiders are allowed to live here and expose the people to their bad examples and vices. They are permitted to visit the village, but not stay. Living in this environment, Kateri soon blossomed in the gospel virtues. She started to spend long hours in prayer, and indeed our little chapel became her second home. But all the hours of prayer did not keep her from her daily chores and work which she fulfilled with a joyful spirit. Often, because of the hours she spent praying, visiting the sick and elderly, along with her regular work, Kateri would find out that she had forgotten to eat all day. I would gently remind her that she must care for her own health to have the strength to better serve others. But I am the first to admit that her prayer, faith, and service to others surpassed that of mine and put me to shame. Being a member of her new Christian Mohawk family brought many blessings to Kateri, but it also brought one of her greatest crosses. It happened during the spring when Kateri was helping with the annual hunt and gathering.
I hope the men have a good hunt this year. Last winter was long and most of the animal meat ran out.
Well, so far the weather has been good, and that there is a good sign that there will be plenty of animals to hunt. Look, Anna, here comes your husband now.
Any luck today?
Not too much, just a few rabbits. How's your sewing coming along?
As well as could be. We have much more to do.
Kateri, you sure do beautiful beadwork.
Thank you.
I can't think of anyone else in the village that does as pretty work as you do. Maybe someday I'll have you make a necklace for my little girl.
Whenever you'd like.
I'll see you this evening.
You're back early.
We ripped a hole in our canoe. I need someone to sew it up for us. How about it, Kateri?
I'll be happy to. I'll go right now.
Kateri sure has been helpful to your husband lately.
You keep out of it. And I watch her without her seeing me. Every afternoon I see her sneaking into the forest.
And she's alone?
Alone, and she doesn't return for 1, sometimes 2 hours later.
Maybe she's going into the forest to pray.
Pray? If it's praying she's doing, why is it always the same time my husband is in the forest hunting?
But that doesn't sound like Kateri. She is one of the best behaved women of the village. She's even asked to take the religious vow to remain a virgin.
A virgin? Who's ever heard of a Mohawk girl taking religious vows to be a virgin? Just because she's never married doesn't make her a virgin.
But committing adultery is not something Kateri would fall into. I cannot believe it would enter into her heart to offend God in such a way.
Blackrobe, I know what it's like to be unmarried and to be young without a man. And I know my husband just as well. And if you don't remove her from the village now, you may find her adulterous little body cut up and fed to the wolves.
Anna, calm down. I promise I will talk to her today.
And I want her gone, Blackrobe. Do you understand?
Come in. Come, sit down, Kateri. How have you been?
From the way people have been staring at me and talking behind my back, you would have think that I've killed someone.
Well, maybe you have.
I don't know what you mean, Blackwell.
Kateri, I have some questions to ask you. And I want you to tell me the truth. Have you been going every afternoon to the forest?
Yes, I have, for the past few weeks.
Have you been going secretly so no one will notice?
Yes, Blackwell.
Have you been seeing someone there?
Yes, I have been speaking with someone.
Do I know who he is? Kateri, How could you do such a thing? This village has been scandalized because of you.
I don't know what you mean, Black Robe.
You don't know what I'm talking about? Don't play the innocent one on me. I know you too well, Kateri. You have set back my work because of your immoral behavior, just because you cannot control your passions.
I have set back your work. You have always told my people that it is not your work that you are doing, but God's work. And why should my village be scandalized because I go out to the forest to pray to God?
Pray? You go out to the forest to pray? Do you expect me to believe that, Kateri?
You have asked me to speak the truth, Black Robe, and I do. I go to the forest to pray to God secretly.
I wish I could believe you, Kateri, but I don't. And no one else will either.
If you want to find the truth of my story, you can go out into the forest and you will find a cross that I have made.
I will go out to the forest and find the truth of this story. If you are wrong, Kateri, I have no other choice but to expel you from this village. You may go now.
During those few years in our village, Kateri continued to grow in the holiness and beauty of God. It was as if he had placed his special affections upon her, and her call to make a religious vow of virginity was so strong that I could not deter her from it. She was well aware of the beauty and sacredness of marriage, and she listened respectfully to me when I tried to convince her that she should marry. Once when I tried to tell her that only sisters make religious vows of virginity, and that one must enter a convent to do that, she answered that after she made her vow, she wanted to continue to live with her own people. Remember, Black Robe, she reminded me, the Blessed Virgin did not live in a convent either. And so finally, being convinced that it was truly the Lord inspiring her to give her entire self to Him, I permitted Kateri to make her vow of consecration to our Lord Jesus. She chose the feast of Annunciation, March 25th, 1679, to privately make her vow of perpetual virginity to God. Thus, on that day, she offered her entire self to Jesus as his spiritual bride, and placed herself confidently under the protection of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Kateri continued her usual customs with her people here in Kanawaka, but she also began to spend many hours in prayer, both in our little chapel and in the forest. People would always come to her and ask her to visit their sick relative or family member, and she would happily comply. She visited the old people and those who felt abandoned to help ease their loneliness. Whenever they requested someone, it would always be Kateri who they would ask to come visit them. Although she was very generous with her time to care for the sick and elderly, Kateri herself suffered from poor health. She was often very weak with frequent chills and fevers. I tried to convince her that she must get rest for herself and for her frail body, but because she thought of others more than herself, she did not seem overtly concerned about her health. It was soon evident to me, however, that the deadly smallpox disease was beginning to show itself again, determined that this time she would not escape from its deadly grasp.
Good morning, Kateri. Where are you off to today?
It's such a beautiful day. I thought I'd go out into the woods and take a walk and get some fresh air.
You don't look well. Don't you think you should be in bed until your strength is back?
I'm fine. This fresh air should do me some good. May God walk with you.
May God walk with you too, Kateri.
Stefan, have you seen Kateri?
No, she hasn't come by here yet.
That's funny. She usually comes by this time every day to visit the Blessed Sacrament. I've been by her house and she's not there.
Somebody just said they saw her walking toward the forest.
What time?
Sometime this morning.
What part of the forest?
North of the village, by the river.
Come with me. Let's try at the river.
Black robe!
Kateri! Kateri, you are very weak. You must rest.
Blackboard, is it true that this is Holy Week?
Yes, in 2 days it will be Good Friday.
It is not right that Jesus, his deathbed, is on the cross, and I'm lying here in comfort, surrounded by friends.
You must accept the blessings the Lord gives you.
It is true. God has been good to me. Black Girl, will you promise me something?
What is it, Kateri?
If you ever see my aunt and uncle, thank them for taking me into their home and tell them I love them.
I will, Kateri.
I'll miss you, my friend. The cross. Jesus, I love you.
Black robe.
And so, Father Superior, even though I have lost a dear friend, I truly believe that heaven has gained another saint, and I am very blessed to have been a part of her life. I know that in the presence of Jesus and our Blessed Mother, Kateri is watching over me. It may seem strange, but I feel that my heart is closer to her now than ever before. I am confident that God will use her to bless His many native peoples in this land, both now and for many years to come. I now close this letter to you and commend you to the Lord. May He continue to bless you and all my fellow Jesuits there in France. Please tell my mother there that her son is doing well among the Mohawk people here in the New World. Your fellow servant of God, Father Shachatier.
ya hey ya, we ya hey la hey ya, hey ya hey, ya hey ya, we ya hey la hey ya, hey ya hey, ya hey.